Because it's like, yeah, man, this is one of those periods of the year where it's like, I don't know what industry you're in or whatever, but it's like, this is one of those times where it just gets real lean. And I get that's, for me, it's this time of the year. For other people, probably other times of the year, whatever. But it's like, dude, sometimes there's just, you got to understand, you got to look at the calendar, right? And you got to say, hey, I gotta fucking get through these next couple of weeks or months and just suffer through whatever that entails to get to the other side of it, because you don't have a choice. It's like sometimes you're in a position in your life where you have to make these sacrifices. You have to. Like, life will force you to make those sacrifices because there's no other option. I don't know, man. I think a lot of people aren't going to understand that's this type of perspective comes from someone who's not necessarily begotten and beholden or benefiting from the system, from the middle class. What I mean, there's the mechanisms, the momentum in people's lives is such a fucking boon. It's such a beautiful. It is a great thing to have, like, generational momentum or any sort of anything helping you to move forward. Dude, that's why a lot of people just go to college and then get a job, and they might jump around a couple times, but they don't want to get out of that shit. And I get it, man. Like, when you leave that shit, like, you are on your own. You have now dropped out of the middle class effectively. I know it's a different life. It's a different life. To me, it's a better life because of the freedom, but it's like the uncertainty coming from a middle class background, coming from a side of America that isn't necessarily familiar with that. I come from a family that was never poor, but like lower middle class for sure. But that's still middle class. Like, parents had steady jobs, they worked as teachers, you know. But it's like, dude, it's just a different life out here, dude. It's a different fucking life out here now. It's not the same world. There's no safety nets. And I know a lot of people start off their life like that. You don't have a safety net to start with. So I was fucking fortunate to even have that. But man, dude, when you don't have shit, you're fucked. I mean, I guess that should be obvious, right? When you don't have shit, you're fucked. That should be something that, goes without saying. But man, it's tough. Man, it's tough coming from nothing, dude. I can't believe it makes you appreciate, and like the stories you hear about people who come from literally nothing. It's like impossible. It's borderline impossible. It's true. If you come from fucking nothing, dude, how do you get, dude? I had to start. I had a fucking man. I've been through some shit. I've been through some times in my life. Look at me right now. You can tell I'm going through some shit, right? But man, I didn't come from nothing. I did it to myself. That's very different. I don't know, dude. It's just trying to even. A lot of people will say, just figure it out, or bootstrap your way up. And I will honestly say, like, the amount of satisfaction when you're living a life like that, when you're living a life like this, where every day counts, and it's like, if you have 2 bad weeks, you might be homeless. Man, there ain't a lot of fucking there ain't a lot of sitting around and being bored. You can't do that. I mean, you might fuck yourself over. You might smoke weed for 2 weeks and then get fucked. But yeah, dude. You know what it is? It's a lack of understanding that people have. People don't understand what other people go through in that context. Because you can't understand. You can't understand what other people go through. I don't think you can. I think you can understand other people through your own life. And if you've been through something similar, then you can truly understand them. But if you haven't been through something, you have no idea what it's like to be on the street for 3 months. You have no idea what it's like to be on the street for fucking 3 years. There's people that have been on the street for decades. Man, there's places in this world that you don't want to go. And that's a part of it too, is people don't want to go there. People don't even want to go there mentally. People don't want to even experience that in an imaginary state. People don't even want to conceptualize what that is because it fucking sucks, man. I can't imagine having nothing. Dude, how would you get out? How would you get out of it? How? Dude. Like I got this fucking business and shit, and it's like that's only a product. It's a product of me benefiting from my middle class background, going to college, getting educated, working as in a career. And yeah, I fucked up my life after that, but it's like I benefited so much in the interim or in my previous eras of my life from that shit. And it's like I'm just trying to understand, like from my perspective, where I am now. Like some people just start from literally nothing. That's just crazy, man. But it's like at the same time, all that being said, right? All of that being laid out, there's really nothing to do except for just get your ass to work. Because when they say you got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, you're right. They're right. They're right. You do. Because no one's coming to help you. No one's coming to save you. And no one's coming to pick you up. You got to do it for yourself. That's the life that was fucking you were thrown into. It's not fair. It's not fair, dude. It's fucked. But that's where you're at. And what are you going to do? Sit there and complain about your circumstances and bitch and moan for 40 years and hope someone gives you fucking $3,000 at the end of it? Come on. Every day is an opportunity. At a certain point, people are forced to take responsibility for their own lives. I think age 25. I don't know why we have age 18 as like the adult. I think 25 is really when you're 25, you're forced to take responsibility for your life. That's when people run out of sympathy for you. No matter who you are, no matter where you're from, no matter what your background is, when you hit 25, no one's coming to help. No one's coming to help. That's done. That's over. And it's tough, man. It really is mind blowing. If you haven't been in a situation where you are literally like, I've got people in my extended family that I know will never, ever suffer, or they suffer like emotionally. I'm sure everyone does, but like to really struggle, to really go through some shit where you're down on your fucking luck, you're down to your last dime, and you got nothing left in the tank except for a little bit of fucking hope and a little bit of fight. They'll never have to go through that shit. And good for them. They don't. That's good for them. I guess